So, government advice has changed. It was to stay at home and it's now to return to work if you can't work from home. It's not a U-turn, it's just the next step. They've said that you must only return to work if it is safe to do so, which is fair enough. And they've said that you, as the employer, need to assess and control the coronavirus risk in the workplace environment. But what exactly does that mean? Well, in a nutshell, it's an ass covering exercise. It's by which I'm not saying that it was wrong of them to do. For just shy of half a century, you've had the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974, and its main principle is that employers must protect the health, safety, and welfare of their employees. The Act makes it crystal clear that employees are legally, financially, and morally responsible for managing risks within the workplace, and to employees and to anyone else that's on their premises. The coronavirus has the potential to cause harm to both employees and members of the public on premises. So, therefore, if it's got the potential to cause harm, it's classed as a risk. And if it's a risk, then it needs to be managed with control measures that need to be documented. A risk assessment for coronavirus isn't a bad thing, and nor is it just a paper pushing exercise. This is a document that will encourage you to think about how you can control the risk in your environment, specific to your environment, which the government can't write for you, and in your workplace. It will allow you to distribute and update your policies and procedures easily across to your team. It protects you from negligence claims if you act appropriately and yet something still goes wrong. And most importantly, it shows the world you still care. There won't be any criticism from being back in business if you're leading the march on doing the job properly. Whereas you would have noticed that prior to them issuing the full lockdown, or when they just issued the full lockdown, there was a number of companies that got absolutely slated for continuing to work, continuing to crack on, without putting the right policies in place or without kind of ignoring government advice. But this is the government advice now. The government advice is return to work, get back to it. But they're saying that you need to do it safely, which is fair enough. As I say, it's the employer's responsibility to make sure that they're acting in a safe way, and they've provided lots and lots of reading material, which I've included in the links below. What the UK government hasn't done, they haven't given you a risk assessment template for coronavirus, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, this might be they might have updated this since I made this recording. I've included the links below. There's basically some guides on how you can get back into work, what you need to do. It's the foundations for what you'll need as part of your risk assessment. And then also I've included a link to the Northern Ireland government's website, which they have done a template for a risk assessment. The document that you create should be specific to your business. It shouldn't be generic in any way. This is something that many companies will outsource. It's not particularly expensive to outsource. It's something that I do for a living. I'll often get contacted by companies to take on a very specific task rather than a full company health and safety policy, such as this. And it takes the weight off a business director or a team that's already under pressure, having had time off, and they can focus on what they do for a living rather than the safety aspect. And the safety aspect is crucial, though. It needs to be right, and it needs to be right because as the company director, you are responsible for everybody that's on your site. That responsibility is legal, financial, and moral. The HSC, under the Health and Safety at Work Act, can fine you quite a substantial amount of money, and they can even lock you up. They can even go to jail for breaches in the Safety Act. As I say, my details are below in the comments. You can also find my website, diversesolutions.co.uk. Get in touch. We'll create a bespoke quote for you that can be tailored depending on the size of business. It's not a case of one size fits all. It's something that needs to be right for you. Thank you, and stay safe, everyone.